Okay, now that we've learned the tracking, or we didn't have to learn it because we were already good at it, let's go to prioritization, which is also, from my perspective, a core skill of rebuttal. Now, in somebody's speech, there's going to be a million things being said, right? But not everything is as important. And discerning what you're going to focus on and what you're not going to focus on is actually the important skill to learn. We only have 2 to 3 minutes per speech to do rebuttal, maybe a bit more if you're a whip speaker. However, how do you say, discerning what to focus on, what is the priority, what is the most important is a core skill. Now, most of you do this subconsciously anyway, right? Like we all choose what we want to do, what we want to prioritize, what we don't want to prioritize. The problem is it's oftentimes not conscious enough, especially if we are not as good at it, if we receive feedback that we're not as good at it. It's often not consciously done, it's done on the intuition. So the gear and the purpose of this exercise is basically to shine a light on your intuition, see if there's some problems there, and potentially improve upon your reasoning and choosing what is or isn't important and what is or isn't to be prioritized within a particular speech. Now, how do we practice this, right? This requires you to have already tracked a particular speech. So it can be done very well in synergy with a previous skill. However, if not, just track a speech. You don't need to do anything special. If you want to make it more difficult, please look at our previous video on tracking. However, you just track a speech and you structure it to particular claims. So it requires some level of structure. It requires that you have tracked the video. Take 7 minutes in order to get into our exercise. What is our exercise? Now, you will have several claims and stuff that you think exist in somebody's speech that you want to rebut. Take them out, put them on a piece of paper, of what you think are all of the things that could be rebutted in somebody's speech. Everything. Like whether it's an example, premise, second argument, third argument, however many arguments they had, frame, characterization. What are all of the things that you want to rebut? Now, I want you to make a list of how would you rank, but based on intuition at the beginning, how would you rank from 1 to whatever, 10, 7, however many things you have, of the priority of what somebody has said. What do you need to rebut first? What do you need to rebut second? Cool. And that's a starting point. Basically figuring out in relation to each other what you think is important and what is not. And then I want you to do a specific thing between 1 and 2. Like so basically you've ranked something the highest, you ranked something second, third, blah blah. Between each of them, but not like not between 1 and 3, like between 1 and 2, I want you to give at least one reason why is this more important than the other. So why did you rank something number 1 and why is this number 2 instead, right? Why is it not flipped? This may make you switch your order. That's also fine. But then I want you to give me the reason why you switched the order. Basically, what makes number 1 number 1? What makes this core? And it can be several different reasons. It means that if you don't rebut this, you lose. It might mean that this is the thing that they spend the most time on. It can be different things. It can be that it particularly impacts, for example, characterization, particularly impacts what you want to run. This is also a valid argument for why you would prioritize something over the other. So you do this relation between all. Now, what is the ways to make this exercise more difficult? Because that's the point. The point is to each week for you to be able to make the exercise more hard for you in order to practice this muscle groups for prioritization. One aspect of this is to increase the number of reasons that you have to give between each layer, right? So between layer 1 and layer 2, so what is the most priority? What is the second priority? Instead of giving one reason, you can next week give 2 reasons. It's more difficult. You have to talk with yourself a bit more to reach the second reason. It might be weaker than the first reason. That's also fine. But it basically is the way to make your intuition shine light. Similarly, you can increase to 3, however many you want, however many you think you need in this particular case. It's infinite. However, I think after 3 or 4, you're already going to start to struggle with to explain. Notice this is also a bonus of this, of increasing the difficulty in this way. You're also kind of practicing weighing, right? You're practicing weighing between 2 points of opponent, but still practicing weighing nonetheless. So why is something more important than the other? So that's the bonus of this exercise in increasing the difficulty in this manner. That's one. Second way to increase the difficulty is to give yourself time limits. So when you start, I encourage you to take as much time as you want. You don't need to worry. So basically rank them however many time you want, and then give the reasons in how much time you want, right? However, the other ways to make it more difficult is to actually give yourself time limits, like, as I said, let's do all of the ranking in 5 minutes. And then next week, let's do it in 4.5. Let's do it in 4 minutes. Let's do it in 3 minutes, etc., until you get into the speed where it's basically real time. So increasing the numbers the number of reasons, and increasing the time constraint. Now, if you miss the time for some reason, and for example, you gave yourself 5 minutes and it actually takes you 5:30. Just finish it as soon as you can, right? You don't stop the exercise. 5 minutes is done. Damn it. Let's start again. No, just finish it as much time as you can, and continue. And maybe consider in making the difficulty a bit more easier until you get to the point where you can do it faster. So that's practically prioritization, right? If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And thank you for listening. And let's keep practicing. Thank you.